The life simulation you're about to experience today is that of a 26-year-old Beijing programmer who borrowed 20,000 yuan online and only got 12,000 in hand. Just call me Lao Chen. Let me hit you with the numbers right away. The contract said I borrowed 20,000 yuan, but only 12,000 hit my account. 8,000 evaporated before I could feel its warmth. The app's homepage advertised 7.2% APR in big bold letters. When I later did the math, the actual annual percentage rate was 168%, 23 times higher. I thought I just needed a little bridge money for rent. Turns out I'd stepped straight into a bottomless pit. It was my third month unemployed. My landlord had sent 3 rent reminders on WeChat in a row, and property management had frozen my key card. I stood outside my own apartment compound for half an hour, locked out. I couldn't ask relatives. I definitely couldn't ask former co-workers. Everyone in my circle knew Lao Chen was a top-tier engineer. Opening my mouth to beg for money was something I just couldn't bring myself to do. I opened my phone and told myself, just get through this month first. I searched loans in the App Store. The first 10 results were all colorful icons with sweeter and sweeter slogans. Money in 3 minutes. No credit check required. Daily rate as low as 0.03%. I thought to myself, 0.03%. That's only 30 cents a day per 1,000 yuan. So cheap. I tapped on the first one. White text on red looked just like a WeChat red envelope. Registration only asked for my phone number, ID card, and bank card. Not even proof of employment. 3 steps, done. Faster than signing up for food delivery. The moment my credit limit popped up, my heart skipped a beat too. 20,000 yuan available. I stared at those 2 numbers for 5 seconds and told myself I'd only borrow 10,000. Keep the rest as backup. Problem was, 10,000 wasn't nearly enough. I gritted my teeth and dragged the slider to the full 20,000. The customer service rep on the phone was a soft-spoken woman. She never mentioned a single fee, just kept saying, "Don't worry, dear," and "instant transfer, dear." She told me to first pay a 9.9 yuan customer service activation fee, supposedly to unlock a dedicated advisor channel. 9.9 yuan, cheaper than a milk tea. Sure, swipe it. The second the WeChat payment went through, I felt like I'd just snagged a bargain. Then she told me to screenshot my credit report homepage and record a video saying I was borrowing voluntarily. I read off the script she sent and said into the camera, "I am fully aware and voluntarily taking out this loan, with no coercion." My tone was so smooth you'd think I borrowed money every day. The whole flow took less than 8 minutes. Then my phone buzzed. "Dear user, your loan of 20,000 yuan has been disbursed." I refreshed my banking app and the balance jumped to 12,058.60 yuan. I froze. Where was my 20,000? I scrambled to check the chat. Customer service was off duty. I flipped through the contract. Endless tiny fine print. My eyes glazed over. On page 3 of the contract, there was a single line of bolded gray text. Comprehensive service fee 20%, risk deposit 10%, information verification fee 10%. The 3 together added up to exactly 8,000 yuan, deducted directly from my 20,000 yuan principal. Right then I knew exactly what this was. Head shave fee, prepaid interest deducted up front. The law has long established that interest deducted in advance doesn't count toward the principal. But these guys just slapped on new labels: service fee, deposit, verification fee, making it sound like a legitimate transaction. The slicker move was on the repayment schedule. The principal was still calculated as 20,000 yuan, split into 12 installments at 1,990 yuan a month. I punched it into a calculator. 168% APR, 7 times higher than China's legal cap of 24%. I searched the platform on Haimeo Consumer Complaint Platform. Endless pages of identical stories. One person borrowed 8,000 and only got 4,800. The script was nearly word for word the same. Comprehensive service fee, risk deposit, don't worry, dear. I called back and said I didn't want the loan. I'd return every cent. The rep's tone shifted. The contract was already in effect. Breaking it meant a 30% penalty on the principal, and refusing to repay would auto-trigger an extension. That's when it hit me. That voluntary borrowing video I just recorded was made for exactly this moment. Let me explain what head shave fee means. Simple version. You borrow $10,000. The platform deducts $2,000 upfront for various fees, and only $8,000 hits your account. But when you pay back, the principal is still calculated as $10,000. You just paid $2,000 in invisible interest for nothing. Back in 2015, China's Supreme People's Court already ruled, when interest is deducted in advance from the principal, the actual disbursed amount is what counts as the principal. In plain language, however much they shaved off, that's exactly how much we don't owe. Problem is, the platforms got smart. They don't call it interest anymore. They call it comprehensive service fee, membership fee, guarantee fee, accelerated disbursement fee, information verification fee, risk deposit. The names get fancier, but the essence is identical, taking a bite out of you before the money even leaves their pocket. Back in 2019, CCTV's 3 to 15 Consumer Rights Gala called them out. 714 high cannons, slang for 7 or 14-day predatory loans that shave 30% off the top. Bunch of them got pulled, but within 2 years they reskinned and came back as 55 high cannons, 303 high cannons. Same playbook. I ran my contract through the math 3 times. Borrow $20,000, receive $12,000, repay $23,800 over 12 installments. Plug it into the IRR formula, and the actual annual rate is 168%. Not a digit off. China's legal cap on private lending interest is 24% APR. Anything above 36% is automatically void in court. In other words, of that 168%, a full 132 percentage points is just thin air the courts won't enforce. But you think doing the math ends it? It doesn't. The next morning at 9:20, the first text arrived. Dear user, friendly reminder. Your bill of 1,990 yuan is due. Late payment will affect your credit. Sounded polite. Except the actual due date was still 26 days away. Noon, second message. Your account has been added to our watch list. 2 p.m. We recommend linking an emergency contact. 8 p.m. Friendly notice. We have, with your authorization, accessed the first 20 contacts in your address book. I immediately flipped to the last page of the contract and found one line of fine print. User agrees that the platform may, when necessary, verify information with emergency contacts. But I never filled in any emergency contact. They just read my phone's address book and treated my first 20 contacts as so-called emergency contacts. In our industry, this is called unauthorized data access. At minimum, it violates China's personal information protection law. At worst, it crosses into the criminal offense of infringing on citizens' personal information. I had 2 choices, pay up fast or refuse and tough it out. I picked the second, not out of pride, just genuinely broke. 7 days past due, the calls exploded. I got 17 in one morning, all from different virtual numbers across China. They started polite. Mr. Chun, are you experiencing some financial difficulty? By the 18th call, the voice changed. A man, no effort to hide his accent. First sentence, you think you can FING hide? I've got your parents' numbers. Pay up today, or by tomorrow your whole village knows. I realized this was the opening move of address book bombing, violent debt collection. He probably didn't actually have my parents' numbers. He wanted me to think he did, so I'd panic and call home for money myself. Pure psychological warfare. Sure enough, the next morning my mom called. Her voice was shaking. Someone had added her on WeChat, sent her a photo of my ID, said I'd borrowed 20,000 and skipped, and told her to pay it for me, or they'd report me to our hometown village committee. My college roommate WeChat me too. Someone had been commenting on his social posts, calling me a debt-skipping deadbeat. He sent me the avatar. It was one of the so-called emergency contacts from the contract. That's when I learned what dignified bankruptcy really means. Debt collection escalates on a schedule. Week 1, polite reminders. Week 2, cursing and threats. Week 3, threats to show up at your door. Week 4, a fake lawyer's letter with a big red stamp. Looks intimidating until you read the signature line. It's just the legal department of some random internet tech company. I went and looked up the rules of the debt collection industry. The China Internet Finance Association's post-loan collection guidelines, published May 2024, clearly states in black and white, collection from anyone other than the debtor is prohibited. They violated that rule 100 times over. One day a collector totally lost it on the phone. He cursed me out for 6 straight minutes. I kept the recorder running and didn't say a word. That was the day I went calm. The crazier he got, the more evidence I had. I started consciously preserving evidence. Contract screenshots, bank transfer records, collection call recordings, harassment texts, social media screenshots, all sorted into folders by date. That was the moment I went from prey to hunter. I stopped avoiding the calls too. Every collection call, I put it on speaker and recorded, opening with, "This call is being recorded. Everything you say will be used as evidence." Half of them hung up immediately. The other half instantly softened their tone. What follows is the practical part. 3 moves to break the trap. Useful for anyone who's stepped in. Move 1. Stop the bleeding immediately. Calculate exactly how much you actually received. Isolate the head shave portion and assert that portion is not part of the principal. Specifically, send the platform a formal written objection letter by both email and registered mail. The key sentence: I actually received a principal of 12,058.60 yuan. Any amount above this is, per Supreme People's Court rulings, not recognized. Move 2. Keep every shred of evidence. Record every collection call. Screenshot every text and chat. Save every piece of harassment of family and friends. Focus on evidence of cursing, threats, and address book bombing. That's the lethal stuff. Move 3. File complaints through 3 channels at once. Channel 1. Call KBER Complaint Hotline 12378. China's National Financial Regulatory Administration unified hotline that handles microloan and consumer finance complaints. Channel 2. Post the full details on Haimeo Consumer Complaint Platform. The more eyes on it, the more nervous the platform gets. Channel 3 is the most critical. File a police report at the police station of your registered residence. The charge: collection conduct suspected of picking quarrels and infringing on citizens' personal information. Note: registered residence, not where the incident happened. Much higher chance of the case being accepted. I ran this entire playbook for 3 full weeks. 12378 accepted the complaint and forwarded it to the local financial bureau. Haimeo forwarded it to the platform's headquarters. The police station sent a coordination request letter to the collection company. Result: the platform reached out to settle. Settlement terms: principal recalculated at the actual disbursed 12,000 yuan. APR capped at 24%. All the rest written off. I ended up paying back 13,500 yuan total, almost 10,000 less than the original contract. But here's what I understood. I got a settlement not because they had a change of heart. They got scared the situation would blow up and trigger compliance penalties. In other words, the softer you are, the harder they push. The harder you push, the softer they get. Took me a year of being chewed up to learn that. Last words for you watching this. If you've already stepped in, take a deep breath. Money problems aren't fatal. Being scared into paralysis is. Screenshot today's 5 steps and start tomorrow morning. I'm Lao Chun, 26. Just climbed out of that 12,000 yuan pit. Next simulation, let's pick a different script. One last question for you. If China's regulator caps private lending at 24% APR, how do these guys dare to charge 168%? Is the law not strong enough? Or is someone looking the other way? Tell me what you think in the comments.